You've made it to Module 7. It's time to redirect. But if you're like most entrepreneurs and leaders, this is around the time you hit the plateau. Now, I'm not going to say that's so for you, but you've been working your bum off. You have been delving deep. You've been pulling out roots below the surface. You've been letting go of things, releasing things, surrendering yourself, and you're bringing on new vision and mission for your forward movement. And that can be exhausting. I liken this period of time to transition in labor for childbirth. There is this point where baby's just about to arrive, and typically mama is exhausted and may even want to just give up, and may have done 10 hours of labor, 20 hours of labor, 30 hours of labor. She's done the job, and all she needs is just to get that baby out, and may just feel like she just doesn't have it in her. So this is around the time for most leaders and entrepreneurs that if you're at a Tony Robbins event, there is chanting, there's firewalking, there's music, there is this upliftment of everyone around you. It becomes a communal experience. And in those situations, if you have a team like that, you know what? You're not going to be ready to let go. You're going to be full of vigor and ready to move forward and make it all the way through this process. However, many of us are solopreneurs and we don't have those big teams and we don't have access to that kind of support. So for us, we have to count on a different kind of support. So close your eyes. Plug into that divine power source. Remember that you're never alone, that there's always a major cheerleading squad available for you. And that power source is more than 110 or 220. So as you take a deep breath and you remember where you're really connected, you may want to begin to look at some of the other things that might impact you at this phase as you're getting ready to redirect. You might want to take a look to see if there's any resistance left here. And it may be something you overlooked below the surface, but it may also be just that you're not sure, or you're not ready, or you may not know how to ask for help. And even if you do ask for help, will you receive it? Will you accept it? Will you allow others to help you? If you are a leader, especially if you're a very powerful leader, if you are in a position that is very high profile, you may believe that you need to stand on your own. You may need to believe that you've got to do it all yourself. You may not want to show signs of weakness by asking for help. I'm saying that kind of silly because that was me all the way. I felt that as this warrior, as this strong, powerful, highly educated, well-trained woman, I needed to do it all myself. I couldn't ever rely on anyone. And by the way, I had lots of experiences that taught me that relying on people wasn't such a great idea. But you are here at this phase of this personal development process where you've got to look to see, is there any other resistance? Is there resistance to having a team or asking your team for support or assistance or even just nurture? And when you've dug below the surface to determine if there's anything standing in your way, then it's time to release that as well. And as you move past your resistance, it'll be time for you to look at, what are your energetic stores here? How are you feeling about this process? And if you're like many people, you may notice that your motivation is a bit lagging. But why is that? I've just acknowledged this is a process that requires a lot of your energy and a lot of your emotional energy. So if you're feeling unmotivated for any reason at this stage of the game, you might want to ask yourself why. Now, many folks notice that their lack of motivation is as a result of fear of failure. It's like that old adage about perfectionists being terrible procrastinators. It makes sense when you think about it. If you know in your heart that it's never going to be good enough, if it's never going to be perfect enough, then how in the world would you ever start? And why would you ever start? So, looking at your level of motivation for if you are going to make this redirection, if you are going to allow this mission to move forward, is there anything keeping you from really stepping into your power and your authenticity? Do you worry that maybe you won't be able to really optimize? Do you have concerns that maybe you won't be able to reach those heights that you think you should, as if shoulds actually existed? Or, like others, do you not have a fear of failure, but a fear of success? For me, that so resonates. I was afraid to step into the limelight because for me, stepping into the light meant being seen. And when I was young, being seen meant being hurt. So I stayed out of the limelight. Unfortunately, that kept me small. It didn't let me play my edge. And I had to work to really take that unconscious thought, make it more conscious, and then I had to sort of negotiate with myself to let it go so I could step into the light, so I could be of assistance to others who also wanted to break through. And as I did that for myself, it affected the world. So, where are you at this stage? What are you looking at? Do you have any fears of failure? Do you have any fears of succeeding? Do you have any concerns about asking for help? And by the way, maybe you're really good at asking for help or delegating, but how are you at receiving? How are you at accepting help when it's offered? Because that might be one of the only elements that stands in all of our way. So, time to open your hands and receive. Whether you're asking your friends, your family, your team at work, your community, your organization, or even the divine, remember that whatever you ask for, you've got to be ready to receive. And the greater openness you have to receiving, the more likely you are to have it just enter your world. And if you're willing to receive support and upliftment, now you're ready to be invigorated to move forward with your mission. I'm looking forward to see what's next.